Greetings everyone, Mr. Craft here, and today's video is video number 1 of 3 in which I will be discussing temples. The first build that we're going to be doing in the Roma project will be to build all the temples in Rome, and so we need to have a basic idea and understanding of what these temples are, how they looked and were decorated, and so on. So first, we're going to be taking a look at a Greek temple, which in Greek was called Ho Naios, or Naos, as we may see this word in our research. For the first Greek temple, for a Greek temple, what we're going to be looking at is not every type of Greek temple, but instead we're just going to be taking a look at probably the most iconic temple and its development, its architecture, because this temple was probably one of the most common types of Greek temple, and it certainly was the most well known of the temples. So let's take a look at that. Here we go. Here we are inside of Minecraft. First, real quick, I just wanted to show you some of the column options that we have with this texture pack, which was done by Romecraft. Here in the front we see Corinthian columns, Corinthian capitals with fluted columns. Here we see some Doric capitals. Here's just a marble column, and then here are 2 fluted columns. And here is one of several different ways to achieve the Ionic, although not the best looking. Unfortunately, this texture pack doesn't offer an Ionic, so you'll have to forgive the fact that it looks like a letter T. Well, anyways, let's take a look real quick at the video, or at the temple. Sorry. So the temple that we'll be looking at is none other than the Parthenon. So what I want to show you real quick about the Parthenon is some of its main features. Now, the Parthenon, the Naos, Greek temple, had all the same purposes that the Etruscan temple and the Roman temple had. That is, it housed the deity that was to be worshipped and provided a special room for that deity, and visitors could come and worship the deity and visit the temple. So we have all of these things in common. They were mostly rectangular and very highly decorated, right? Because they wanted to pay their respects to the god. So let's take a look at some of the things that we see first on the outside. So the Greek temple, of course, we have columns. This is done in the Doric order. Here, just above the architrave, we have the frieze, which is going to have, it's not going to have a bunch of heads on it, but this is the best that I could do in reproducing some of the figures, some of the mythological scenes that were depicted here in the frieze. Up above the frieze, in this triangular area that's blue, has a blue background, is what's called the pediment, and inside of this pediment, at least on the Parthenon, there are going to be all sorts of wonderful statues of different gods. Of course, you cannot really achieve small-scale statues in Minecraft, so you'll just have to sort of make do when recreating your temple. Just above the pediment, on the roof here, on the edges and in the center, we see 3 things which are called acroteria. And these are usually just little terracotta or bronze figurines or statues. Now, when we go inside of the Greek temple, I want to first take a quick walk around and show you that these columns actually, in fact, completely encircle the building. This is important to note, as it's going to come up later when we compare Greek temples to Roman temples and Etruscan temples. They're going to be just a bit different in their layout. Now, let's go ahead and move on up here to the front. So this section here of the temple is called the pronaos, or portico. So this would be the front of the temple. If we look up here, we have some nice decorations. When we enter into the doors here, or enter through these doors, the big room that we're going to be entering into, where the god or goddess will be kept, is called the cell, or the cella. So here we have a reproduction of the Athena Parthenos, and we have put some decoration on the inside, as we believe would have actually been inside of this temple. And in fact, you can certainly feel free to go more elaborate. Many scholars believe that the cells were very elaborately decorated. And then finally, we will, or not finally, we'll go see this in the back here, as I showed you a second ago, and then we'll make our final point. So the Greek temple had very often a back room here. This back room is often referred to as a Adeton, or sometimes Apostodemos. So Adeton means that it was inaccessible, and the Apostodemos really just meant that this was a storage area, this back room here. So you would imagine that there would have been special relics particular to the god or goddess that would have been kept here, and would have usually been off limits to anyone except for the priest or the priestess. So maybe they would have had a chest or something that would have kept secret books regarding the sacred rites for that particular god or goddess. Now, there certainly were several other types of Greek temples, and this was not the only style that was available to the Greeks and used by the Greeks, but it was the most prominent. I will be touching upon very briefly some of the other types that the Greeks used when I do the Roman temple video. So that's it, folks. Just a very short video, just a quick run through of your typical ancient Greek temple. I hope you enjoyed, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Walete.